nation, and a million faces formed together, made for elevation. And the soldier won't surrender faith, is like a fire that never burns to embers. The voice of the unheard, love is the answer.
I gotta speak it, believe it, that's how I feel inside.
I can't sit here quiet.
You can take my heart, you can take my breath when you pry it from my cold dead chest.
This is how we rise up, heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up, heart is beating faster, feels like thunder, magic static. Call me a fanatic, it's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up, it's our resistance, you can't resist us. Can you hear me? Are you listening? Sleeping and the shadows could be making history. Through the fire, on the water, used to be a slave, but now you are a conqueror.
They can take my heart, they can take my breath when they pry it from my cold dead chest.
This is how we rise up, heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up, heart is beating faster, feels like thunder, magic static. Call me a fanatic, it's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up, it's our resistance, you can't resist us. We're rising up, rising up, we're rising up, rising up, we're rising up. This is how we rise up, it's our resistance, you can't resist us. This is how we rise up, heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up, heart is beating faster, feels like thunder, magic static. Call me a fanatic, it's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up, it's our resistance, you can't resist us.
And welcome everybody to another show of Straight Talk with Joe Vollano. I'm glad you're all here with us today on this special Wednesday edition. As you know, we will be gone for the rest of the week, so we have a lot to cover today, which is why we needed to have a show today. We are going to cover the Guy Scaife lawsuit that's still moving forward, that has taken an unusual twist. I thought this would have been done and over with already, but I'm glad it's not. We have Norberto Gonzalez, who is the candidate for Area 1. He's going to be on the show. We're going to talk about the comments made by a certain councilman, Mr. Rhodey, that was in the paper today, and people coming to defend him. Found it quite interesting, some of the comments made in the Record Journal, so we're going to talk about that also. And if we have time, I do have a couple other topics in the stack of stuff here for tonight. But we'll try to get through as much as we possibly can. So for those of you who are new to the show, I am Joe Vollano. I am your host and your guiding light through all the chaos that's going on in the world today and in our city. So strap yourself in, because we have a crazy ride to go tonight. So as always, this show always works best when you guys are involved. So if you want to call in, 203-679-9610 is the call. It's the call in. If you want to email us, straighttalkjv@gmail.com. So, and of course, if you're on YouTube or Facebook, the message board is always busy. I see you guys are already at it. So you could jump on Facebook or YouTube, and you could always just throw your comments in there. I try to keep track of some of them as we go along. If something catches my eye, of course, I'll talk about it. But since we do have a lot to get into today, I thought it was very important that we have, as I said, candidates on. We have a new candidate in Area 1 that was being run by Frank Scotto, who has resigned that spot, and a new candidate has taken his place. And this is a gentleman I've known of for the last 15 years that I've been here. He was involved in my son's school with St. Stan's. He used to deliver the pizzas on every Friday. I remember seeing him. Never had an opportunity to actually have a conversation with him. Amazingly, 11 years later, here we are. So I am proud to introduce the candidate for Area 1 on the Republican side is Mr. Oh, there you go, Roberto Gonzalez. Can you guys hear me over there?
Yes, we can.
We sure can.
All right. So, Roberto, he's looks like if you guys move your camera down a little bit, I'm cutting you off with your. There we go, right there, perfect. Now you're not getting your heads cut off. So, Roberto, what made you? Well, first of all, why don't you tell us a little bit of something about yourself?
Okay. Well, thanks for having me on your show. My name is Roberto Gonzalez. I'm born and raised in Meriden. Went to the public schools here in Meriden, and I owned a business for the past 27 years here in Meriden, and that's about it.
Well, we got to give a shameless plug. So, what's the name of the business?
Oh, the name of the business is called Broad Street Pizza. Been in business for the past 30 years.
So, Broad Street Pizza. He goes from pizza to politics.
Yeah.
So the gentleman sitting next to you is your cousin, I believe, correct? And your campaign manager, Elmer. Elmer, are you excited that he's jumping 2 feet into a race now?
I'll have to tell you, Joe, I'm very proud of my cousin. And it's an honor and a privilege to be his campaign manager. I'm looking forward to indulging what we have here in Meriden and seeing some changes. Our platform is new voice and new changes.
That's right.
So we're looking forward to seeing some changes here in Meriden and progressing. We want to make a change. We want to see difference. We don't want the same status quo.
Okay, so let's get into some of these. I had an opportunity to sit down with both of you last week, and there are 3 things that you guys really touched on that we kept coming back to. One was public safety. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what you like to see on the public safety side?
Well, first of all, we got to get, we can't get rid of it, but drugs, crime, accountability. No, not accountability. Accountability, and just a couple of them topics that we want to focus on.
Let's talk about a couple of those topics. We talked about gang violence while I was with you guys, and I think you had a good idea, and I've said it before, is that the local police department needs to partner with their state and their federal partners to help try to bring this gang violence down to a minimum. Because like you said, we're never going to get rid of it. It's always going to be somewhere in the city. Drugs, no matter how much we sit there and say we have a war on drugs, it's ridiculous. Drugs are never going to be totally gone away. That's just being realistic. But I think you made a good point about really making partnerships.
Absolutely.
So,
Agree.
So now, when we talk about downtown, because you represent downtown, which is the largest area where the most crime statistically is done in the city of Meriden, what would you like to see more of? Do you want to see more cops on the streets?
I want to see more. That is correct. I want to see more cops on the street, on the beat. Community policing, where they had these little satellite offices around the community. If you needed somebody, they were there. They had one on Bunker Avenue at one time. That's closed up. They were doing fine there and keeping crime down because they know there was a presence there. We want to get that back. We want to bring that back to the communities.
So now we live in an age, unfortunately, of many of your opponent who is for defunding the police department. So are you saying that you were giving them more funding so they could do more community policing and put more cops on the street?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we need to fund these polices so they can do their job, in a safe manner.
Okay. So another thing we talked about, and you had a great idea. We were talking about the senior center, and I'm going to let you tell the people where
That's
you'd
right.
like to see it moved and how we pay for it. Go ahead.
Well, I if anybody's been on a senior center in Meriden, that's very, very outdated. It's not a welcoming area to go to if I was a senior. I would like to have it moved to a new location, new building, over here on where the old mills used to be on Pratt Street, corner of Pratt Street and Miller Street. I think that's a perfect location because for the fact that there's the green is right there, they can just go right to the green if there's an event going on. They have the community health center, which I believe a lot of them go there for their services. It's right there. And everything's in close vicinity. The only thing they have to do is get bussed in there, by these what they're using now, the buses.
So I think that is an absolute terrific idea. I would love to see them move. Okay, again, you're absolutely correct. If you go to the senior center, it is depressing. And I don't know how. Obviously, it gives them something to do, but I would love to see it move down to where the green is, and pay for it with the funds that are coming from the American Rescue Plan, because these are the kind of things that money is supposed to be used for. So if you use a little bit of money towards building a new senior center, give us something that seniors deserve. And
right.
between the water pollution plant with the upgrades we need to do there, I mean that's a good chunk that again is long term for our seniors, which I think is phenomenal. I thought was an absolutely amazing idea.
Excellent.
Joe, I would have to agree as well if I can chime in.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal idea. It just brings another perspective as to what I call beautifying Meriden,
That's right.
which downtown Meriden, where it's at, it's just, personally feel it's unsafe for our senior citizens to be located at.
Correct.
And the new location being it's from a standpoint of envisioning a better Meriden, it creates a better atmosphere, better location,
That's right.
better access for our seniors on all spectrums, to the green, to the clinic, to businesses downtown.
Mhm.
So there's a benefit for it to change and
Both
be
sides.
moved on both sides. Yeah, it really is.
Like I said, I think that is the greatest idea. I loved it from the moment you said it. And I think that's something that every candidate should be getting on board with. And I think that every senior that hears this will be all for it. So hopefully, and I know that our city leaders and our city representatives listen to the show. So hopefully they'll take this for what it is and try to put a move on it, because I think that the benefits to the seniors is tremendous, and it's a brilliant idea. So again, kudos to both of you for coming up with that. Since we're talking about how things look around the city, you guys also mentioned that blight is one of the biggest issues in the city that you're going to be looking to tackle.
Yes.
So tell us more about what you guys want to see with that.
Well, we want to see these. I know there's been a lot of properties that are vacant. There were houses there before, and they tore them down. They just closed them up with some kind of fencing. I would like to see new property there. Give either a small building or a small house, anything that's going to bring revenue to the city. I mean, when you build a house, when you have a house, you're going to get taxed. So, I mean, it's open property. Give first-time builders or first-time buyers a chance to, have that opportunity to purchase a house on that property by either a builder or an organization.
So you're pretty much saying may turn it into an opportunity zone for first-time home buyers and first-time developers?
That is correct.
True, Joe.
First-time developers.
Yes.
So, yep.
So that is, again, these are the type of outside-the-box thinking that we need up in City Hall. Because, listen, you're right. They've been, again, they get these things off of tax auctions or the tax liens, and they get them under foreclosure. They knock them down because they're ragged, and then they just leave them empty there, and nothing happens with it. So the city should sell them off, and I think that is a great way to sell them off and make some money for the city at the same time. Because again, the more houses you have on the market and built, more on the grand list, the lower everyone in taxes are going to be.
That's exactly.
True.
That is exactly what we're aiming for. Lower our taxes.
Well, I think everybody is on board with trying to lower our taxes. Wow.
It's a start, though. It's a start.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, again, we talk about on the show all the time about absentee landlords and the rundown buildings. And, again, the city does need to do a better job. And I think when the city spends money, they should be spending money on something that's going to be beneficial to the public and to the well-being of the citizens, even the quality of life. And I think blight is the one thing that's overlooked in this city. So I don't know if you agree or not, I'll get your opinion on it. I think we need more housing inspectors in the city. People that are going to be held accountable for going out and making sure these blighted properties are taken care of. What do you think?
I 100% agree.
Joe, if I can chime in on that as well. Accountability has a big, big, big factor in all of this.
Yeah.
And, over the years, as being a lifetime resident myself here in Meriden, I'm not seeing that happening. I don't see the present administration in the city really doing nothing about the accountability part. You see, the abandoned properties with cars, debris, trash,
yeah.
and that's a first impression. And again, that goes to our campaign, New Voice, New Vision.
I mean, we want people to come to our city. When they get off that highway, they want to see "Welcome to Meriden," and not see the panhandlers and not see this, the eyesores. We need to do something about that, either put a city ordinance on stuff that's happening at the exit ramps of Meriden. I'm seeing it a lot on 7 and 8 and in other places around Meriden.
Yeah, that's been a big issue, and it's been a hot topic on a lot of the social media. And I think a lot of people wish there was something we could do about it. I know they're constricted with freedom of speech things and everything else. I think it's more of a safety issue, personally, with them, standing in between cars and everything else. So hopefully, again, when we get people up there that wanted to make a difference and actually do something about it, that there is something we can. And I agree with you. I think we need that when you come into Meriden, you need to be able to see the beauty that it is and not the bad that it is in some areas. So I am in total agreement with you there.
Yeah.
So one thing I missed when we were talking about public safety. Now you will represent Willow Street, Hanover Towers, that area there, where as a Republican, you really, I don't want to say have never gotten really a lot of support. How do you plan on, as a Republican, as a Hispanic Republican, how do you plan on trying to garner those votes over there where it's been heavily Democratic over the years?
Well, we're going to hope we can flip them and have them vote for me as a Republican. I know a lot of people that live in that area. I'm pretty sure they'll support me. Will they support voting for Republican? I hope I could change that, by what I have to offer.
Do you feel like having the Republican title is somewhat of a stigma in the Hispanic community, or do you think you can work around that, or do you think once you get your vision
I'm
out
going to try to work around that. I'm
You
gonna
think
try to
once you
work
get your
around that
vision
because
out there, they'll be on board with
exactly.
it?
Perfectly
Exactly.
said there,
Yeah.
Joe. I agree.
Yeah.
Because I tell you what,
If they see my
if you guys could take care of that area, you guys have a tremendous opportunity here. And I think we spoke last time I was with you guys. Only like 980 people vote in that entire district, which again to me is appalling, and it's very depressing because again when you get to the outskirts of the city, they're voting in the thousands. So I hope that's something that you can change with your vision of what you see in now town.
and it's a good one.
And Joe, I can promise you that with me being his campaign manager and being on the Republican ticket, that will happen. We will go out.
We'll make
meet
it
and
work.
greet, and we will make it happen. I personally feel that if we go out there and personally get that contact with the city residents and those transparencies of getting those votes turned over, we can manage to have a new candidate with a new voice and a new vision in place for the city of Meriden, particularly down in that area, in the downtown area. And I'm looking forward to being this campaign manager and running with that throughout the city in area council, in area 1 here in the city.
I love that new voice, new vision. That's exactly what is needed, not only in the area, in your area, but in the city as a whole. It is great because again, we keep hearing the same old for the last 30 years. You know, they're all for this, all for that, and the city just is stagnant, and sometimes we're sending in areas where it really shouldn't be. So I hope you guys can bring some good change to that area, and I hope the people are receptive to your vision of what you see coming to Meriden, and I hope you guys could change some votes down there.
We will.
We will.
We will.
Any last words?
Looking forward to it.
Well, all I could say is that we're going to win this.
I love.
I'm going to chime in as well, Joe. In the city of Meriden and our constituents, be on the lookout for a new voice, a new vision, and change.
I love it.
That's right.
Gentlemen,
That's right.
Elmer, Roberto, I can't thank you each enough. I'm sure I know you guys have a Facebook page up now. It's Roberto Gonzalez for City Council. It's on Facebook. I know I liked it today. I saw it for the first time. So I wish you two the best of luck. Get on those people. And again, you said it right. You have to be in complete contact with those people. They love the personal touch. You have to get out onto the streets and shake some hands. I think as being a business owner for as long as you have, I think you can have some maybe some easier connections than some other might be able to. So I wish you guys the best of luck. I look forward to having you guys back on the show again in the future and give us an update on your campaign and where you see things going.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. You guys have a great night. Again, that's Norberto Gonzalez, Republican candidate for Area 1, and his campaign manager, Elmer Gonzalez. Guys, thank you both. I'll see you guys later, and have a wonderful night. All right, guys. So there it is. There it is. The Republican candidate for Area 1. I think he is a tremendous candidate. I think he's got a great vision. I like I said, I had the opportunity to sit down with him for about an hour and a half, 2 hours during the week, and I love it, especially the senior center. If you're a senior in this city and you hear that a brand new senior center and it can be paid for with the funds coming from the American Rescue Plan. If you look at what their plans for that area were, they were going to put another apartment building there. I agree with not putting that there. I think putting the senior center there with complete access to, again, Easter Steels is right behind them. You have the green. You have the community health center, which is over on Miller. You have the library. You have a lot of places that are right there in the center that they could go and enjoy, especially during the spring and summertime. I think it's a great idea, and it's a much safer location than where it is now. So I thought it was a great idea, and I hope they continue on with that. Now, we have other business to attend to here today. So let's get into some of that. If anyone has been paying attention, we had a whole show the other day on Mr. Scaife, and he is my hero. I do love that man. I think he was the best thing that ever happened to Meriden since I've been here. And I thought that this was all going to be wrapped up already. I thought Monday night they were going to reach an agreement and this was all going to be swept under the rug. But little to my surprise, it is not. They did not come to an agreement. And I am so happy they did not. So they had some briefs and some filings and some rulings this week on Monday and Tuesday. Today was the deadline to reach an agreement. From what I have heard, they have not reached an agreement yet. So starting next week on September 8th, jury selection starts as this thing goes to trial. And I cannot say how happy I am to see this thing go to trial. Now, I'm sorry, is it going to cost the city more money? Yes. But are we finally going to find out what really the hell happened around here? Are we going to find out exactly what Mr. Scaife found? I hope so. And it better be riveting. Because I can't wait for this trial to start. I will be there for the trial. I can't wait to go and listen to this thing firsthand on what was going on in this city so we could bring it to you guys. It's just absolutely amazing to me that this is where we've come to. I can't believe city officials are allowing this to go to trial, especially since, but again, if you look at all those involved that Mr. Scaife was talking about, for the most part, most of them are not here anymore. Whether it's Lupkus, whether it's Juliet, whether it was, Castro, Batista. So they're gone. But that doesn't mean we don't hold them accountable if we find out their wrongdoings. We are still going to hold them accountable. We need to. Because that's just good policy, is to make sure that we hold people accountable. And that is justice. When you try to screw over the taxpayer, you should be held accountable for that. So, again, jury selection for this starts on the 8th, which is next Wednesday. It is very exciting to see. Obviously, nobody's making any comments about it. And, of course, we already talked about some of the things that have already that started this whole thing, including the $700,000 in overcharges to the Public Utilities Division in early 2017. And that was just one of the major things that they found. It's just absolutely amazing. But again, I love what the judge said. I love what the judge said. And he said, part of denying the, excuse me. Where is it? But denying part of Scaife's motions, the settlement, Shade noted that on record, the recent raises of interference that the city would not have terminated the plaintiff if not reported financial and ethical violations, which is exactly what we've been saying here. If Mr. Scaife never brought these things to light, he'd still have a job today. He would still have a job today. And I agree with the judge that with all the evidence there, only a jury can decide whether the council was acting out of retaliated animus or out of desire to remove a source of discord from among city employees. We all know the answer to that. We all know the answer. Because as soon as he accused sitting councilors of wrongdoings and had evidence for it, within days, he was fired. Within days. That, I think, is the most damning piece of evidence you could possibly have. On top of it, that just 2 months later, they gave him a raise. So again, as the judge said, you can't sit there and say he was doing a bad job if you gave him a raise 2 months before. And then you fired him only a couple of days after he came forth with evidence and reports about counselors' unethical behavior. If no one could smell the crap coming out of that, then you are blind and nose deaf. And if I hear one more person tell me, well, that's the way the city's run, I swear to God, I'm going to go crazy. Because that's not how a city's run. And the fact that you allow, and that you would be willing to allow a city to be run that way, using your tax dollars, is absolutely insane. I am so happy this is going to trial. I am so happy all this is going to be aired out in public. And I'm hoping that somehow these people that were doing their wrongdoings are going to be held accountable, whether by the city, state officials, or federal officials. One way or another, these people need to be held accountable. So that's what's coming up with Mr. Scaife. So apparently no agreement was made. And we'll see what happens next week. And it'd be great because jury selection is going to start next Wednesday. We'll be back here on the 9th for our next show. So we'll be able to talk about that on Thursday. So I look forward to that. Here's a story that I came across today that actually caught me by surprise, actually. I wasn't expecting to see this article in the paper, but hell, here it is. And it was a Meriden counselor, former mayor, defends Facebook comments. And we talked about it briefly a week and a half ago about what Mr. Rhodey said. And there was a couple different things that he said. And I'll give credit to the Republican chairman who again, rightfully so, called them out. Because if that was a Republican that said these things, oh, they'd be going friggin' batshit crazy. Especially if you talked about Black Lives Matter that way. So there's two comments that he made. And I didn't know about believe it or not, I didn't know about the second one. So I knew about the she deserved it in regards to the white woman that was killed by the police officer on January 6th at the Capitol. I knew about that. I knew about that comment. We talked about it a couple weeks ago on the show. I wasn't familiar about the whole vaccine controversy with him making comments about some of them I thought were a little weird. I think some of them were more hypocritical than anything. Where he was showing criticism against anti-vaxxers. There were people who just didn't want the vaccine. And listen, you could have your opinion on it one way or another. I don't care. First of all, like I said, I did not get the vaccine. I won't get the vaccine. I don't think it's necessary. Now, this is a guy who, again, is not being 100% truthful with the people in the paper. He needs to put a disclosure on that he represents an organization that makes a shit ton of money off of people getting vaccinated. So let's just put it out there right now. So, because if you read the article, nowhere did it say that they get paid a lot of money to vaccinate people, and he's the mouthpiece for the organization. So let's read through some of these comments that were said. So Rhodey commented, "You're so sick of your selfish endangerment of others. And then you deserve the worst if you get COVID. Rest in peace." I don't know about you, but I don't know any elected official who I would advise to sit there and say shit like that on Facebook. I would not advise anyone who is elected official in the city, any city, state, federal, I don't care what it is. You can be dog catcher. You don't say stuff like this on Facebook. You are held to a different standard. I say this to every candidate I work with. I say that to every elected official that I talk to. You are held to a different standard. You are not just an ordinary person. Everything you say has meaning behind it and has one, it has your part. You are a representation of your party and of your constituents. So when you say shit like this, while yes, you have the right to say it, and I'll agree with people who defended him that he has the right to say it. True, he does, but I would not advise you to say it because that's just stupid. It's just stupid. It's irresponsible, and it does nothing to further the conversation. But again, I find it very interesting that this is the same guy. This is the same hardcore liberal that doesn't want you doing anything, birth control, anything. You can't regulate whether or not they have birth control or not. You know, free abortions everywhere. Go for it. He's all for it. But yet, when it comes to the vaccine, no. You'll do as we tell you to do and you'll get vaccinated. How fucking hypocritical is that? How hypocritical is that? I mean, you gotta be kidding me. So, yeah, abortions galore. Knock yourself out. No. You can't regulate birth control. But hey, we're going to tell you, you got to get this shot. Oh, by the way, I represent one of the largest organizations in the city that are making a shit ton of money off of you getting that shot. So please go get the shot. I would have been happy if you just said that. At least then you're being honest with the people. Because, I mean, I could say provocative shit, too. Everyone knows my dislike for freaking Rhodey is well beyond. I'm very open about it. Very open about it. I despise the man. I think he is the worst thing that ever happened to this city. And the best thing that's ever going to happen is when he's gone. Now, that's controversial. You can take that one. You can sit there and say it. Tomorrow in the headlines, podcast host says, best thing that ever happened to the city is when Rhodey's gone. And you know what I'll say? That's an accurate statement. That is an accurate statement to me. Because if you look at everything that has gone wrong in this city, that fucking man has had his fingers in it. He has. Whether it's the financial misdoings back 20 years ago, whether it was the debacle of downtown and the way that was set up and that was organized, he's had his hand in all of it. And on top of it, he's a condescending dick. So no, I don't hold back on it because I don't have to. I don't care. The best thing that ever happened to this city is when that man when he's gone. Love me or hate me for it, don't give two shits, but he could kiss my ass. So let's see what else people had to say. So, and on top of it, the lady that was actually having this conversation with him wasn't even trying to start a fight. Like she said, you can do what you think is best for you, and I'll do the same. What's wrong with that? But then Rhodey continued to put false information out there. He continued on. And he said, we have a cure for a disease that killed over 600,000 people in America. First of all, it is not a cure. And the fact that the director of community relations for community health centers is saying that is disturbing because it is not a cure. And we have proven, and there's proof of that because people who got the vaccination are still fucking dying. It is not a cure. And then he said he takes issues with people who have made vaccination political. He is one of them. He is one of them. And again, for him, it's not political. It's about making money for the organization he represents. It is to make money. Because I bet if we looked at it a year and a half ago when Trump was in office, I bet he was saying, oh no, I wouldn't take that vaccine. Just like every other fucking Democrat out there. Every other crazy liberal out there. They made it political and it never should have been political. Shame on them. No, shame on you. Shame on you for being for pushing false information. And I love the fact that fellow Democrats defended Rhodey, saying they may not agree 100% with his statements, but they support his right to speak freely. Great. I'll agree with you on that. I don't have to agree with the statements. He has the right to say them. Is it smart to say them? No. And I think he's being disingenuous when he's sitting there saying that vaccine is the end all be all. It's not. It's not a cure. It never has been a cure. But again, he has to say that because he needs to push people to get more vaccines so his organization makes more money. That's what it comes down to. At the end of the day, for everything, follow the money. If you follow the money, it's going to lead you to where the problem is. And that is with these pharmaceutical companies pushing this 1, 2, now a third booster shot. Really? Now we need a booster shot? It never ends, ladies and gentlemen. It never ends. There's always going to be another variant of it. So it's never going to end, and that's what they want. That's what these companies want because they make money off of it. And then he made the comment that we talked about a couple weeks ago, is that when they were talking about the Capitol officer that shot Ashley Babbitt, and she was in the crowd at the Capitol, and she was shot, and his 3 words were, well, she deserved it. Really? Why? Why did she deserve it? Can we say the same thing about anyone else that was shot during a riot? Or is it only this woman? So an armed woman deserved to be shot. Coming from a city official who is all gung-ho on police brutality. Now, again, do I agree with Mr. Rhodey on this issue? I mean, you're a rioter. You broke into the Capitol. Hey, I'm an equal opportunist. Listen, I say this about rioters in the Black Lives Matter and Antifa. You get yourself killed during a riot, breaking into a federal building, and you get shot. You're not gonna get any sympathy from me. Let me put it that way. You're not getting any sympathy from me. So this woman who was shot, even though she was unarmed, I'm sorry, I have no sympathy for her. Do I think she deserved it? No. Because I don't want to see anybody die. I don't think anyone deserves to be shot. But you put yourself into that situation, and I say, your actions and have consequences. You made a conscious decision to go into that building, into the U.S. Capitol. You sealed your fate there. Whatever happens after that, you have sealed your fate. You're not going to get any kind of argument from me to back you up. Same thing with these looters and rioters. Same things with these people that don't listen to what police officers are saying. There is no difference. So again, while it was a shame that it happened, and no, I do not think she deserved it, but I'm not going to sit there and bash the police officer who had to make that choice in the split-second decision. And it's amazing that Mr. Rhodey has now all of a sudden jumped on board with Republicans who sit there and say that on a daily basis. Police officers need to make decisions in a split second. It is not an easy job to do. It's a thankless job in these days. But they have to make these decisions. And he made one. And he shot her. Unarmed or not. He ended up having to make that choice. And it is what it is. She put herself in that predicament. So again, I'm not giving any sympathy to her on what happened. She made the choice to go in there. But I'm also not going to sit there and say she deserved it. That's just stupid. That's just irresponsible. Especially, again, coming from an elected official. So in his defending of the comment, Rhodey said he finds it disgusting that Republicans and other social media commenters are trying to make a hero of crooks and villains. I'm sorry, fucking Sonia Jelks and the rest of you freaking Looney Tunes have been doing that for freaking 3-4 years now with this racial bullshit that you've been trying to spew. You're talking about crooks. You're talking about people that have rap sheets 10 pages long. And you're sitting here telling us, oh, well, they were heroes. George Floyd was no fucking hero. No hero, but you guys make him out to be. He had a rap sheet a mile long with aggravated assault on a pregnant woman. And you make him out to be a friggin' hero. Really? Mr. Rhodey, get your head out of your ass. I know it's hard. I know it's hard. And I know you probably don't even know where you are half the time anymore. But to sit there and say stupid shit like that, everyone knows your record. Everyone knows what you said. And every Democrat on the city council, you shouldn't be defending it. Because I tell you what, you've been putting them on a pedestal. Crooks and villains, you, the Democratic Party of this city, this state, and this federal government have been putting these people on pedestals, which are making them more brash and more daring to do stupid shit that gets themselves killed. Because at the end of the day, a police officer is going home. Just like with that woman, that officer had to make a choice. And at that time, he felt, I'm going home tonight, and felt he needed to take that shot. And he was cleared. He was cleared by the government and by independent organizations on that. He did what he needed to do. So to sit there and say that people are making a hero out of crooks and villains, that's what your side's been doing for the last 4 years at least. The right wing is so corrupt, so full of lies, Rhodey said. The rioters were attacking the police officers who were sworn to protect the people. Okay, so let's take this statement from Mr. Rhodey. So are we saying now, when the police officers set a line in the street and say, hey, this is it, this is your containment zone, so when they come at them, should they shoot? Should they open fire now? Is it okay now to open fire? Because I bet if they do, you'll be the first one, Mr. Rhodey, sitting there screaming for their job. You'll be the first one. Because I tell you what, Black Lives Matter and Antifa attack police over and over and over again. But I guarantee if those police open fire, you'll be the first one to sit there and talk about abuse of power, and you'll be looking to throw every one of those officers in fucking jail. So, Mr. Riley, do me a favor. Shut the fuck up. Because you're an idiot. You're an idiot. And the more you talk, the more bullshit that comes out of your mouth, the dumber you look. And of course, my favorite racist, Sonia Jelks, decided to chime in. Because she was aware of the comments, but defended her colleague. Mike Rohde has a long history in the city of Meriden of being a strong advocate voice, whether people like it or not. And he obviously is entitled to his thoughts and opinions. And we're not here as a caucus body to censor any of our members if they strong feely about speaking out on issues and things that are concerned to them. Jelks noted Rohde's long tenure as an elected official in Meriden is an indication that people know who he is and he is about, and that didn't even make any sense, who he is and what he is about and what he supports and what he believes in. More so than a couple of comments that have been made on Facebook that might have been provocative and to some people and maybe in negative way and taken in a negative way. Really? 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 What a dumbass. And of course, the Democratic town chairwoman, she chimed in. And she said that Republican counterparts' call for Rohde's resignation is hypocritical. She referenced the deaths of two unarmed black people, Trayvon Martin and Breonna Taylor. Well, let's take those two first of all. First of all, I don't know what is hypocritical. What is hypocritical? Because I've been pretty straightforward with it. So what's hypocritical on the Republican side? She never said that. She never said what was hypocritical about it. The fact that we're not up in arms about two unarmed black people, again, who knew damn well what was going on. Taylor, she was in a house with a drug dealer boyfriend who she knew there were drugs in the house. She knew there were weapons in the house. Her boyfriend didn't care. The police didn't do that to her. The police did not kill her. Her boyfriend killed her. Let's be very straightforward on that. She put herself in that circumstance. She put herself in that situation. Don't blame the police officers who are just doing their job. Again, but it's always someone else's fault other than their own. She made bad choices and she paid the consequences for those bad choices. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Same thing with George Floyd. Should he be dead? No. But a lot of things that he's done put him into a position where he was put in that situation. And the crowd joining around them did not help in that. Those are facts, whether you believe them or not. Whether you believe them or not. So to sit there and say, because those two, no, that's a horrible, horrible. I didn't hear them come in the defense of any black or brown people who were victims, she said. Okay, so again, since it was a white woman, it's okay to kill her. You're done. You're good. Because she wasn't black or brown. That's what Millie's saying. It's funny how Democrats always turn this into identity politics. I love it that they're the only ones that can sit there and throw the race card out every fucking time and no one calls them on their bullshit. I do. I'm calling you on your bullshit, Millie. Because it is. I didn't hear them come to the defense of any black or brown people who were victims. Like who? Give me one. Because the two you just gave me are not. Those two are not. So you're going to have to come up with something better than that. It says, my only point is there's bigger conversation here. This isn't over local opposition leaders bickering over who to support. And that described Republicans' complaint as politically motivated. No, it's just common sense. An elected official doesn't talk like that. It's just common sense. And if you do talk like that, then you're going to be called out on it. You're going to be called out on it. If you say stupid shit, you're going to be called out on it. But Democrats try to call Republicans hypocritical and saying that we are trying to put, we are putting the criminals on a pedestal is an absolute friggin' joke. So laughable. So laughable. It's beyond words. Beyond words on how stupid these people sound. And if anyone in the city actually took a second to actually listen and read what they're saying and then think about it, they'll be like, what? That's fucking crazy. It's crazy. This is how crazy the Democrats are in this city. This is how crazy they are. The thing is, they're not even trying to hide it anymore. They're not even trying to hide their craziness. They're not even trying to hide their racism. For the Democrats, it's all out there. It's all out there. They are the biggest bunch of racists that I've ever met. And they keep showing it over and over and over again. And while they sit there and say, we're hypocritical, no, we're pretty straightforward. Well, at least I am. People, you are allowed to make your own choices. You are not going to run from the consequences of those choices. That is the golden rule. Every action has a consequence, good or bad. If you make bad choices, there's going to be bad consequences. You make good choices, good things will come. Democrats love to sit there and turn everything into a racial component. Because no one even mentioned that she's a white woman. Anyone recognize that? The only one that brought race into this were the Democrats. Not a single person brought that the woman was white. No one brought that she was white into the conversation. Other than Millie. Millie was the one that brought color into this. And she did a piss poor fucking job at it because she picked two people that should not have been freaking put on there. Especially if you know anything about the cases. Which if you don't, I suggest you go read it. So please, come up with better examples than that, Millie. Because you did a piss poor job at it. But of course, some of your dumb liberals out there will be like, oh yeah, she's right, rah, 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 rah. We're idiots. Every time you talk about something, Democrats bring race into it. Especially now. It's become so commonplace that people are friggin' are numb to it. People are numb to it. There is nothing they don't bring race into. Which brings us to our next thing. Oh, we're running out of time here. So we're running out of time. I don't even have a chance to get into all the stack of stuff I got here. So we got 2 minutes. We can squeeze this in. Anyone know who this lovely young lady is? That is Miss Santiago. She represents the 84th district in the state representative, and she's running for Secretary of State. And do you know why? Do you know why everybody's getting behind her? Because she's Latina. So wait a minute. So again, so this brings me back to what we were saying before. When you talk to a Democrat, it's always about race. Always. First of all, the fact that she's in fucking Wallingford, giving this speech of her exploratory committee, when she's the only one in the city of Meriden that actually represents everybody in Meriden, at least in the center of Meriden, that she has to go to Wallingford to give this speech. And don't give me this just because Wallingford was putting their boxes of voting inside and not outside. Don't give me that crap. I just don't think you have the support here in Meriden. Hell, I don't think you can have the support anywhere. You've done nothing. You've done nothing but raise taxes on the people. That's all you've done. I love. She sat here in this article, and she started throwing off all of her accomplishments, and all her accomplishments are socialist ideas. All of these things were socialist mandates that cost the taxpayers a shit ton of money. But since she's the highest ranking Latina elected official in Connecticut, well, you have first dibs, sweetheart. Knock yourself out. I mean, really, is this the way, again, is this the way we are trying to run our country now, our state and our cities? Well, if you meet a certain profile, you're good to go. If you meet a certain profile, if you look a certain way, you have the right genitalia, you are given so much more opportunity than anybody else. It's such bullshit. Qualifications don't matter anymore. Your only qualifications is the type of blood running through your veins, the color of your skin, and your genitalia. Other than that, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. Because if you disagree with anyone that has those identities, you are a racist, homophobe, bigot, misogynist. That's what you are. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Hilda. I'm sorry. Go back to working in Chris Murphy's office and do me a favor and shut the fuck up. Because you have done nothing but cost the city money, the state money. Hell, you even cost the city money when you were on the council. But now she wants to run for Secretary of State? And this is the best part. So this is the part I wanted to get to. Excuse me. So this is the issue she sees. We are not as advanced as other states are when it comes to voting availability. Because Ms. Santiago doesn't want you to need an ID to vote. No. You don't need an ID to vote because she said it oppresses minorities, as if minorities are too stupid to go get an ID. Again, every time I hear this come out of a Democrat's mouth, I look at minorities and go, don't you guys get insulted by that? I mean, really, don't you get insulted? If you keep hearing these politicians sitting there saying, don't worry about it, you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, you don't know any better to go get an ID so you can go vote. I mean, really? Or do they just think that the rest of, I guess, maybe friggin' they just know that crazy white liberals and their white guilt liberals will sit there and go, yeah, she's right. They don't know any better. They don't know any better. It's like, if I was a minority, I'd be like, shut the fuck up, man. We're not stupid. And I think that's why they liked Trump so much. I think that's why Trump has such a strong minority following. More than any Republican ever. Because he treated them like people. He didn't sit there trying to patronize them. He didn't sit there and try to put them down as you're not smart enough, you're not good enough. I know, so we're over. But see, we're not going to have a show on Sunday. So I got to finish this. Trump reached deep into each and every person. Love them or hate them. he brought out your true colors. And if you love this country, you were very happy. If you despise this country and think that this country was founded on false principles and racial principles, then no, you're despicable, and they go crazy with hatred. But yes, she wants to make sure that everybody, and no excuse absentee ballots. Listen, we have an election day. It's November 2nd. We don't need a month-long election. We have an election day. That's when people go and vote. When you add a month, 2 months ahead, you only add corruption, the possibilities of corruption into the system. One day. Everybody knows what day it is. The first Tuesday of every November. It never changes. First Tuesday of every November is election day. We don't need early voting. Why? So you could have more corruption and more illegalities going on in there? No. But I'm going to leave it there because I got so much more stuff in the stack of stuff. I got another five articles here that I wanted to get into that unfortunately we're not going to get into tonight. But like I said, so Sunday there will be no show. I don't think I want to do one from Massachusetts or Rhode Island. So I will be going to a wedding this weekend. So I will be gone starting tomorrow. But we will be back on next Thursday, and we will have a lot to talk about next Thursday. We're gonna, like I said, the SCAFE jury selection will start next Wednesday, so we'll talk about that, and we'll continue on. But guys, leave here. And again, I say it all the time. Love one another. Do not let people try to divide us, no matter how hard they try. Because again, they are trying extremely hard to do just that. They're trying to divide us. I will not let liberals divide this city. I will not liberals divide this state. I will not have liberals dividing this country of ours. We are stronger together. That's what makes this country so freaking great. If you didn't see the Bill Maher episode last week, most conservatives won't watch it, but go watch Bill Maher. He does an amazing job at really captivating what these new liberals are like. And even for him, it's disgusting. But go out of here with peace, love in your heart. Go spread love in your circle of influence. Make sure they're informed of what's going on and what these friggin' crazies are trying to do. And tell them, don't let it happen. So I love you. Guys, I will see you guys next Thursday. So until then, I love you. God bless you. God bless this city. God bless this state. And God bless the greatest country on the face of the earth, the great United States of America. I will see you all on Thursday, and I love you.
And the million faces formed together, made for elevation. And the soldier won't surrender faith. It's like a fire that never burns to embers. The voice of the unheard. Love is the answer.
I gotta speak it, believe it, that's how I feel inside.
I can't sit here quiet.
You can take my heart, you can take my breath when you pry it from my cold dead chest.
This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like fire. sleeping and the shadows could be making history. Through the fire, on the water, used to be a slave, but now you are a conqueror.
They can take my heart, they can take my breath when they pry it from my cold dead chest.
This is how we rise, oh, heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise, oh, heart is beating faster, feels like thunder, magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise, oh, it's our resistance, you can't resist us. Up, 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 up. We're rising up, 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 up. Rising up, 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 up. We're rising up, 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 up. Rising up, 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 up. We're rising up, 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 up. This is how we rise, oh, it's our resistance, you can't resist.